All right, ladies and gentlemen, one of the people who I enjoy reading and hearing from and talking to with regard to this Justice Department that we have in the United States right now is our next guest. And not just the recent occurrences. I mean, this goes back to Eric Holder's Justice Department as well, which is in effect the same Justice Department. It's J. Christian Adams, former Department of Justice attorney and author of Injustice, Exposing the Racial Agenda of the Obama Justice Department. Hello, sir.
Hey there.
Always good to talk to you. All right, so I think we hear so much if Hillary wins, we'll have a constitutional crisis. We already have a crisis, and I don't know if you would describe it as constitutional, but to explain to me how we could be finding out so many things that we're finding out. We know about the meeting on the tarmac with Clinton and Loretta Lynch, but we're also finding out through the leaked emails about coordination, about John Podesta having an attorney who's now big in the Justice Department who's giving the FBI a hard time investigating the Clinton Foundation. How could all this be happening? And aside from people like you and me and others on the right, nobody cares.
Well, I think they do care, thankfully. The bigger question is, why does it take so long? Some of it has failed oversight over the last 7 years, using the tactics of 30 years ago, like hearings and strongly worded letters instead of more effective threats. But look, this is a situation where the Justice Department has turned into a wing of the DNC, that, connected lawyers at the Justice Department and not connected lawyers, top to bottom, stem to stern, are doing all they can to get Hillary elected president.
Well, that's absolutely true. So when you say that, would you consider this a constitutional crisis of sorts at this point?
Well, it's definitely a crisis in government. It's definitely a crisis in impartial law enforcement. One of the great things about this country, Steve, is that everybody's meant to be treated equally. That if you go read the Declaration of Independence, what you see in that declaration is a situation in the world where people were not treated equally, where how close you were to the king resulted in how well you were treated by your government. And if you read that declaration that led to a revolution, you will see a government that was out of control. And I think now what you're seeing is a government that's out of control as it relates to helping Hillary Clinton win the White House, where they're willing to not bring criminal charges involving bloody state secrets, involving a freak who Skypes with children his rape fantasies. I mean, this is how far we've devolved this fast, is you have a government who's not willing to enforce the law because it might stop somebody from winning the White House.
I assume you were talking about Anthony Weiner?
Yeah, or Carlos Danger.
Oh, yeah, Carlos Danger. All right, so when you hear what's going on, when you heard about the meeting in the plane, and then 2 days later, the head of the FBI comes out and makes that stunning announcement, basically, and I'm no lawyer, outlining a case against Hillary Clinton, and then at the end says, oh, by the way, no charges because no one would ever prosecute this case. What did you think?
Well, what I thought was confirmed when James Comey testified to Congress, and that was this had nothing to do with James Comey. If you go back, Steve, and look at the media around this event, I was one of the few guys that was saying this has nothing to do with James Comey. Everybody wanted to say, oh, Adams, you're wrong. Comey should resign. I'm like, look, this doesn't have to do with Comey. This is the Justice Department stopping this investigation. And I knew that it was the Justice Department when I listened to his testimony, Steve, and he said under oath, the Justice Department lawyers said they had, quote, grave concerns, unquote, about bringing a case. And as soon as I heard that, I heard the echoes of when I was at the Justice Department. I know how that place works. And if the Justice Department lawyers had grave concerns, they knew how to articulate that to James Comey. And that's why that case didn't go forward. So this is a Justice Department problem. It always has been a Justice Department problem.
All right. So speaking of the Justice Department and speaking of Podesta's lawyer, Kazig, correct?
Yeah.
Who Podesta famously wrote, according to a WikiLeaks email, he kept me out of jail during the Monica Lewinsky, or maybe he said that at one point. He kept me out of jail during the Monica Lewinsky situation. Okay, well, now we have proof, and everybody's concentrated on the fact that he, Kazak, tipped off Podesta and the Clinton Foundation about the Clinton campaign about a hearing that was coming up. But you say there's something bigger there than just tipping off Podesta about a hearing.
Yeah, who cares about a hearing? It was going to be posted on the webpage if it hadn't already been. The bigger issue is the court document. He tipped off Podesta, Kazak tipped off Podesta about a pending filing in court. What was that pending filing? I went and I looked it up and I read it. It is an affidavit by a State Department IT guy who traces out the state of play on the email scandal, the state of play of where the emails are, when they can be reviewed, how many there are, what's the schedule for release, who's involved in the process. All of this script, and that's what it is, Steve, was a script for managing this issue for the Hillary campaign, was in a DOJ court filing. That's confidential information until it is filed. You cannot, as a Justice Department lawyer, call third parties and say, hey, we're going to be filing something tomorrow in this case that you really need to look at. I would be disbarred if I did that when I worked at DOJ. I would certainly lose my job. But that's exactly what Kazak did. So that's the big story.
Well, that was going to be my question to you. What should the repercussions rightfully be? Should he be kicked out of DOJ? Should he be disbarred? Should he be jailed or charged?
Hey, you want to talk about the perfect world, but that doesn't exist anymore because nothing will happen to him. Okay, let's talk about what should happen. He should be disciplined at DOJ. He should be disciplined by the bar. But none of that's going to happen because those are the old days, Steve. Those are the days when law and the rules mattered. Doesn't matter anymore. This is political warfare. It's like something from a European country, from 100 years ago. It is not the America we used to know.
So what is your outlook going forward? What is your outlook for this country going forward? If Hillary wins and Loretta Lynch remains on as Attorney General, or someone else that she picks becomes Attorney General after what we have seen and what's been exposed through the WikiLeaks and everything that you know, the paper trail that exists on what's going on, squelching FBI investigations regarding the Clintons, et cetera, can we as the American public have any faith in a Clinton administration Justice Department?
No, because they're going to be emboldened. Remember, elections embolden the winners. And if they can win an election with this amount of exposure of their raw corruption, then all bets are off. I mean, look, we're only scratching the surface now.
Yep.
I mean, we only have a tiny fraction of the nonsense going on. I just had a story yesterday at PJ Media about how they threw pizza parties for these lawyers who struck down North Carolina and Texas voter ID and talked about how important it was that they were going to affect the election.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's so pervasive across the government that you can't contain it.
Folks, read J. Christian Adams at PJ Media and also read his book, Injustice, Exposing the Racial Agenda of the Obama Justice Department. Great to talk to you, sir, as always.
Take care, Steve.
Take care. All right, folks, up next, Jim Hoft and Roger Simon. They joined me for a political panel that was originally done on America Talks Live. You will not want to miss this. I promise you. Don't go away.